I can't believe this is really happening, I whispered, my hand shaking as I signed the last page. You did it, Mr. Hayes said with a wide grin. He slid the papers into a neat folder. This house is yours now. All yours. The words sent a jolt through me. Mine. I wasn't renting anymore. I wasn't depending on anyone. I had worked years for this moment. I thought I'd never get here, I admitted. Every overtime shift, every sleepless night. It feels worth it now, Mr. Hayes chuckled. You earned it. Not many young women your age can say they bought a home on their own. Be proud, I nodded, though my chest tightened. Pride was something I had never been allowed to show at home. When I walked into the house later that evening, the keys jingled in my pocket. The smell of fresh paint and sawdust hit me. It wasn't big, but it was mine. My phone buzzed. Clara! Hey, I answered, trying to sound casual. So, it's true? She asked. You actually bought a house? Yes, I signed today. She let out a sharp laugh. Wow, didn't think you had it in you. I mean you? A homeowner? I bit my lip. What's that supposed to mean? Oh, don't get defensive, Clara said sweetly. I'm just surprised. You're not exactly the type people expect to see holding keys. The type? My voice rose. Clara, I worked for this. Every dollar is mine. Relax, she said. I'm happy for you, I guess. Can I come see it? I hesitated. Her tone was too eager. It's not even furnished yet. So? I just want to look. Mom and Dad will freak when they hear. Yeah, I muttered. I'm sure they will. When I finally told them that night, their reactions were everything I feared. You bought a house? My mother repeated, her brows pinched. Yes, I said, forcing myself to stand tall. I saved for years. My father's lips pressed into a line. And not once did you think to consult us? I didn't need to, I said. It was my money. That's not the point, he snapped. You don't just make decisions like that alone. What about Clara? She's still figuring her life out, I froze. What does Clara have to do with me buying a house? She's your sister, my mother said firmly. Don't you think it would have been kind to consider her too? She might have wanted to live with you. Clara, who had just walked in, smiled like a cat. Oh, I wouldn't mind. Big sisters are supposed to help little sisters, right? I turned to her, my stomach sinking. This is my house. I bought it for me. She tilted her head. You're so selfish. Don't worry, I'll only use the spare room sometimes. You'll barely notice I'm there. You're not moving in, I said, my voice sharp. Her smile faded. Wow, you won't even share. After everything Mom and Dad did for you? My father's gaze darkened. Clara has a point. You wouldn't be here if not for us raising you. Heat rushed to my face. Raising me? You made me pay rent at 18 while Clara lived free. You told me I wasn't smart enough for college. Every step I took alone. The silence was heavy. Clara rolled her eyes. You're so dramatic, I clenched my fists. You'll see the house when I invite you. Not before. Mr. Hayes called me the next day to congratulate me again. His voice was warm. How does it feel to wake up in your own home? Strange, I admitted. Like I don't deserve it. My family made sure I feel guilty already. Guilty? He repeated. You worked for this. Don't let anyone steal your joy. People envy independence when they don't have it. His words stayed with me. But envy was more dangerous than I realized. A week later, Clara showed up unannounced at my doorstep. She tapped the keys of her car against her palm and smirked. So, are you going to let me in, or do I have to peek through the windows? I sighed and opened the door. 10 minutes. That's it. She walked in like she owned the place, touching walls, peeking into rooms. Cute. Smaller than I thought, but it'll do. It's not yours to judge, I muttered. Oh, come on, she said. Don't be so touchy. You know Mom and Dad already think I'd make better use of a house. They said it last night. Her words hit like a knife. They said that? She smirked. They think you're too uptight. Me, I'm friendly. I'd fill this place with laughter. I swallowed hard. Clara, you don't even have a job. She waved me off. That doesn't matter. Some people are meant to be taken care of. She leaned closer, her eyes gleaming. And some people, like you, are meant to take care of them. My hands shook. Get out, she pouted. Fine, but remember, big sis, what's yours can always become mine. When the door slammed shut behind her, I leaned against it, my chest heaving. I had bought a house to escape my family's shadow. Instead, I had opened the door to a storm I wasn't ready for. I didn't mean to overhear them. I had only gone back to grab my jacket, but their voices drifted down the hallway. She wasted her savings, my father muttered. That house will ruin her, my mother sighed. Always so stubborn. If only she listened like Clara. Then Clara's laugh, soft but sharp. Don't worry, she'll fail. She always does. When she cracks, the house will be mine anyway. The words sliced me open. I stepped back, heart pounding, but I forced myself to stay silent. If they saw me, they'd only call me dramatic. Later that night, Clara showed up at my door. Why so tense? She asked, stepping inside without waiting. Don't glare at me like that. I folded my arms. I heard you earlier. I heard all of you, her brows arched. So, families talk. Don't be so sensitive. You mocked me, I snapped. You want me to fail, she smirked. Maybe I just know you better than you know yourself. You're not cut out for this. This is my house, I said firmly, and I'll prove I can manage it. She walked around like she owned the place, touching the walls. You keep saying it's yours, but isn't it kind of ours? We're family. What's yours should be shared. I stepped between her and the kitchen. Clara, no. This isn't yours. Her smile stayed sweet, but her eyes hardened. Fine. Then at least give me a copy of the keys. I froze. Why would I do that? So I can stop by. Water your plants. Keep an eye on things when you're not home. I don't need that, I said quickly. And you don't need a key? Her lips curled. You don't trust me? Not with this, I whispered. She leaned closer. You'll regret treating me like a stranger. I swallowed, but didn't answer. She left soon after, the slam of the door echoing through the house. The next morning, I told myself I was overreacting. But unease gnawed at me. A week later, she returned, this time with a tall man beside her. This is Derek, she announced, sweeping inside. My boyfriend, Derek extended his hand smoothly. So you're the famous homeowner, I shook it stiffly. I didn't invite either of you. Relax, Clara said, waving me off. We were nearby. Derek wanted to see the place. Derek's eyes wandered over the living room. Not bad, cozy, but you could upgrade it. Maybe knock out a wall here, add a deck out back. Clara and I were talking about it. My jaw tightened. You were talking about renovations? On my house? Clara grinned. We're just imagining, big sis. Don't be so territorial. I turned to Derek. And you think you'll be the one making decisions here? He chuckled. Hey, I'm just saying this place has potential. A smart owner would let someone like me help. I stared at him. You don't even know me. I know enough, he said smoothly. Clara says you're cautious. Too cautious. Houses are meant to grow, to change. And sometimes they're meant to be shared. Clara clapped his arm. See, he gets it. Unlike you. Enough, I said sharply. This is my home. You don't get a say, Derek. Neither of you do. Clara's smile faltered. You don't have to be rude. I'm setting boundaries, I said. Because no one else in this family ever respected mine. She scoffed. Boundaries? With your own sister? Yes, I whispered. Especially with you. Derek leaned back against the wall, studying me with cool eyes. Strong words. But strength isn't lasting when you're outnumbered. The implication hung heavy. I met his gaze, refusing to flinch. Then maybe you two should leave before you try outnumbering me in my own house. For a moment, neither moved. Then Clara grabbed his arm. Fine, we'll go. But don't forget, family should stick together. Don't be surprised when Mom and Dad take my side. The door closed behind them, but their voices lingered in my head. That night, I sat alone at the kitchen table. Their whispers, their laughter, their threats, I replayed them all. My chest ached with the weight of it. For years, I had believed approval was still possible if I tried hard enough. But now the truth stared me down. They didn't want me happy. They wanted what was mine. I traced the house keys in my hand. My first real victory felt less like freedom and more like a war I hadn't realized I was fighting. The knock on my door was sharp, official. I opened it to find a man in uniform. Are you... He read my name aloud. Yes. He handed me an envelope. You've been served. I stared at the heavy papers in my hand, my stomach twisting. Served? Court summons, he said flatly before walking away. My fingers trembled as I tore it open. The words blurred at first, then burned into me. My parents and Clara were suing me, claiming the house was theirs. Claiming I had used family money, I whispered the words aloud, choking on them. They're giving the house to Clara? My phone rang. Clara's name lit up the screen. Against my better judgment, I answered. Got the papers? She asked lightly. Clara, what the hell is this? I demanded. It's simple, she said. That house should be mine. Mom and Dad agree. You don't need it like I do. You're suing me for something I bought with my own money? She laughed softly. You really think you got here alone? The world doesn't see it that way. The court won't either. I'm the daughter who deserves support. You've never worked a day in your life, I shouted. And that's exactly why people pity me, she said smoothly. The judge will see a helpless younger daughter abandoned by her cruel sister. You'll look heartless. The line went dead. I sank into a chair, clutching the papers, my breath ragged. My own family dragging me to court. 2 days later, I sat across from Attorney Miller, a balding man who barely looked up from the file. So, your parents and sister claim they funded the purchase? He asked. They didn't give me a cent, I said quickly. I saved everything from my job, he shrugged. Hard to prove. Family disputes get messy. Judges like sympathy cases, I leaned forward. I have bank records, pay stubs, receipts. That'll help, he admitted. But don't expect miracles. Judges don't like seeing daughters fight over money. Makes everyone look bad. I clenched my fists. I'm not fighting over money. I'm fighting for my life, he gave me a tired look. Just keep calm in court. Don't let emotions run wild. That never helps. Easy for him to say. The day of the first hearing, my heart nearly gave out when I saw them lined up together. My parents in neat clothes, Clara in a pale dress, her hair loose, her face carefully innocent. She looked fragile, breakable, like a girl in need of rescuing. My mother hugged her before they entered the courtroom. Don't worry, sweetie. We'll make sure the truth comes out. I stood frozen, bile rising in my throat. Inside, Judge Williams entered, tall and stern, his eyes cold as stone. Court is in session. Clara's lawyer stood first. Your Honor, my client Clara is the rightful beneficiary of this property. The defendant, her elder sister, unfairly seized the family's funds to make this purchase. That's a lie, I burst out, unable to stop myself. Judge Williams shot me a glare. You'll speak only when asked. I shrank back, heat rushing to my face. Clara dabbed her eyes with a tissue. Your Honor, I've never had much. I've struggled for years while my sister hoarded everything. She promised she'd help me, but instead she shut me out. I'm jobless, helpless, and she left me behind. I shook my head violently. That's not, her lawyer raised a hand. We will show financial records tying family funds to the house purchase. They're lying. I cried. Every dollar was mine. Order, Judge Williams snapped. My father took the stand next. Clara is our younger daughter. She was always fragile, needed more care. We gave both daughters money to survive, but this one, he gestured at me. She twisted it, used it to take everything for herself. My chest burned. That's not true. You never gave me anything. Silence. The judge barked again. My mother's voice followed, soft and trembling. Clara is kind. She deserves stability. Her sister has always been selfish. She never thought of us, never thought of family. Clara deserves the home. My nails dug into my palms. My whole life they had favored her, and now they had dressed it up as justice. When Clara returned to the stand, her voice cracked perfectly on cue. I just want a place to feel safe. I'm not asking for more than what should have been mine all along. The judge leaned forward, studying her with concern. My lawyer whispered, Don't interrupt. Let me handle this, I hissed back. You're not handling anything. When my turn finally came, I stood, my legs shaking. Your Honor, I worked for that house. No one helped me. I can prove it with years of paychecks, savings, transfers. Clara never worked. She spent her life being supported while I was told to survive alone. This lawsuit isn't about justice, it's about greed. Judge Williams raised a brow. Do you have evidence? Yes, I said firmly. Every cent is documented. He nodded slightly. We'll review it. But as I sat, I could feel his eyes soften when they turned back to Clara, not me. Her lawyer whispered something in her ear, and she nodded, sniffing into her tissue. My parents leaned close, surrounding her like a shield. I sat alone, trembling, watching my family paint me as a monster. The walls of the courtroom closed in. For the first time, I wondered if the truth would be enough. The silence in my house felt heavier than ever. I called two of my closest friends, hoping for comfort. "Hey, can we talk?" I asked, my voice cracking. There was a pause. Then, "I don't know if that's a good idea right now. This lawsuit stuff, it's messy. I don't want to get dragged in." I swallowed hard. "Dragged in? I just need someone to listen." "Look, I'm sorry," she said quickly, "but people are saying things online. It looks bad. I can't. The line went dead. I tried another friend. Please, just tell me you believe me." Her tone was soft but distant. "I don't want to take sides. Maybe Clara's struggling more than you. Maybe you should let her have it." I pulled the phone away, staring at it. "Let her have it?" My voice shook. "It's my house. My life." But she had already hung up. That night, I scrolled through social media and nearly dropped my phone. Clara's post glared back at me. "When your own sister steals from you and leaves you homeless. Praying for strength during this trial." The comments poured in. "Stay strong, Clara. You deserve better. How could your sister do that to you?" My throat tightened. "She's painting me as the villain," I whispered to myself. And they believe her. I sat in the dark, tears soaking my shirt. "Why, Mom?" "Why, Dad? Why would you choose her over me?" The walls felt like they were closing in. Every shadow looked like judgment, every silence like accusation. Then one evening, a knock echoed through my house. I almost didn't answer, expecting more bad news. But when I opened the door, a woman in her 60s stood tall, her eyes sharp but kind. "You don't know me," she said. "But I know what you're going through." I hesitated. "Who are you?" "My name's Evelyn. I fought a case like yours once. Family against me, lies against truth." She stepped inside as if the air itself made room for her. "I heard about your trial." "They'll crush you if you let them." I blinked, stunned. "Why would you help me?" "Because I know the loneliness," she said, her voice low. "I know what it feels like to sit in a house full of silence and wonder if you're crazy for fighting back." My throat tightened. "That's exactly how I feel." She studied me closely. "Do you want to win?" "Of course," I whispered. "But I'm drowning." "Everyone believes her." Evelyn's eyes narrowed. "They only win if you break." "Don't give them that." Her words hit something deep inside me. "But I'm exhausted," I confessed. "Every night I hear their voices. My parents calling me selfish. Clara calling me heartless. I almost believe them." She leaned closer. "Listen to me. You earned what's yours. The truth is your weapon, but the truth means nothing if you collapse under their pressure." I wiped my eyes, shaky. "What if the judge doesn't care?" He looked at her like she was a saint. "Judges are human," Evelyn said. "They're swayed by appearances, but lies always crack. You need patience, strength, and evidence." I exhaled, my hands trembling. "I have the records, the pay stubs, the receipts, but I feel like it won't matter." "It will," she said firmly, "but only if you believe it matters. Doubt is what they're feeding on. Don't give them more of it." Her confidence stirred something in me, faint but alive. "I don't know if I can do this alone," I admitted. "Then don't," Evelyn said simply. "I'll help you. I've been where you are. I won. And you will too." I stared at her, my heart pounding. "Why me?" "Because," she said, her gaze steady, "your fight isn't just yours anymore. It's the fight of every daughter silenced, every woman dismissed, every truth buried. Win this, and you'll never feel powerless again." For the first time in weeks, I felt air in my lungs. I nodded slowly. "Then I'll fight." "I won't break," Evelyn gave a thin smile. "That's the spirit. Now let's begin." "I don't even know where to start," I told Evelyn, staring at the pile of old folders scattered across my dining table. "You start with the truth," she said firmly. "Show me proof you paid for that house alone." "I have bank statements, pay stubs." "Somewhere," I muttered, pulling open another box. "But it's so much. Years of work." "Then we dig," Evelyn said, "piece by piece. You're not doing this for them. You're doing this for you." I grabbed a folder and flipped through. "Look, paycheck from 3 years ago. Every cent went into savings." Evelyn leaned closer. "Good, keep stacking them. When you show consistency, the lies collapse." My eyes burned from lack of sleep. "I feel like I'm drowning in papers." "Better to drown in proof than in their lies," she replied. I gave a weak laugh. "You really don't let people quit, do you?" Not when I see fire in their eyes, she said. You've been beaten down, but not broken. I pulled another envelope open. This is a receipt from the bank transfer I made for the down payment. Her eyes sharpened. Perfect. That's gold. Put it aside. Mark it. I reached for a pen, my hands trembling. For the first time, I feel like I might actually stand a chance. You do, she said. But chances aren't given. They're built. Hours passed, the table filling with stacks labeled and highlighted. My back ached, my fingers numb. Why does this feel endless? I groaned. Because truth takes work, Evelyn said simply. Lies are easy. Truth isn't. The clock struck midnight. I rubbed my temples. I can't anymore tonight. She touched my arm. Rest then. Tomorrow we fight again. The next morning I dragged myself to Attorney Miller's office. He glanced at the growing pile of documents without much interest. So you've been busy, he said flatly. I've been proving my innocence, I shot back. Every paycheck, every transfer, here, look. He flipped lazily through a few pages. It's something, I guess. But don't expect the judge to dig too deep. He'll listen to the story Clara tells, not just the numbers. I slammed my palm on his desk. Then make him listen. Isn't that your job? He frowned. Calm down. Anger won't help your case. Evelyn, who had come with me, leaned forward. What won't help her case is a lawyer who doesn't fight. Do your job, or she'll find someone who will, Miller bristled. I'm just being realistic. Realism without effort is defeat, Evelyn snapped. She's bringing you evidence most clients couldn't dream of. Use it. I held my breath, shocked at her bluntness. Miller sighed. Fine, I'll prepare a stronger defense. But the court's sympathy still leans her way. I clenched my fists. Then I'll break their sympathy with facts. Back home, exhaustion hit me like a wall. Still, I pulled out another box of old files. Evelyn watched silently as I worked. Finally, she said, Why do you keep pushing when you're this tired? Because I don't want them to win, I whispered. Not after everything, she nodded slowly. That's the strength they underestimated. I found Clara's old bank statements among files my parents had once carelessly handed me. Wait, look at this. Withdrawals for shopping sprees, vacations, thousands blown. Evelyn's eyes lit. Yes, contrast. Her waste against your savings. That paints the picture clearly. I scanned more papers. She bought designer shoes the same month I was working double shifts. And she dares say I stole from her? That's the beauty of arrogance, Evelyn said. She left a trail. And you're finding it. I dropped the papers onto the growing pile. God, I hate this. I hate that it's my own sister. Evelyn's voice softened. Hatred is natural. But don't let it poison you. Channel it. Turn it into focus, I rubbed my eyes. Focus is hard when you're tired of crying. She put a hand on my shoulder. Then cry if you must. But don't stop. My throat tightened. Why do you care this much? You barely know me. I know your story, she said simply. And I know what it feels like to be abandoned by blood. Once I stood where you are. I swore if I ever saw another woman fighting the same battle, I wouldn't let her fight alone. I bit my lip. Did you win? Her eyes gleamed. Yes, and you will too. The words filled me with a strange warmth. For once, someone believed in me. I stayed up late again, highlighting, organizing, building the mountain of proof. The weariness never left, but under it burned something stronger, determination. At dawn, Evelyn poured coffee and set it beside me. See, you didn't break, I smiled faintly, lifting the cup. Not yet. And I won't. The courtroom air felt heavy, like every breath scraped my lungs. Judge Williams's voice cut through the silence. Clara, please continue your statement. Clara dabbed her eyes with a tissue, her voice soft. All I ever wanted was a safe home. My sister promised to help me, but instead she locked me out. I've been struggling while she lives in comfort. I clenched my fists. Comfort? I hadn't slept properly in weeks. Her lawyer guided her. And your parents supported you financially, correct? Yes, she whispered. They gave me everything they could. But my sister, she took advantage. I bit my tongue until it hurt. Then my turn came. Miller leaned toward me. Stay calm. Answer carefully. I rose, my legs shaky. Clara, you said our parents gave me money for this house? She blinked. Yes, they supported you like they did me. Really? I pulled a folder from the table. Then why do these bank records show every deposit came from my job paychecks? Not 1 cent from them, her face tightened. I didn't mean literally. I meant they supported you in life. I locked eyes with her. So not with money, she hesitated. Not directly, but, Judge Williams interjected. Answer clearly. Did they contribute financially to the purchase or not? Her lips parted, then closed. No, a murmur rippled through the room. I pressed on. Then why sue me for something you admit they never paid for? Her lawyer objected. Badgering! Overruled, the judge said, his eyes narrowing slightly. My chest surged with shaky relief. Then Derek was called. He strutted to the stand, smoothing his jacket. Clara gave him a hopeful glance. State your name, the clerk said. Derek Lane. Clara's lawyer asked, How well do you know the plaintiff? Very well, Derek said smoothly. We've discussed the house many times. Clara planned to live there. We even talked about renovations. My head snapped up. Renovations? Yes, he said confidently. A deck, a new kitchen. We had plans. Clara's face went pale. Derek, she whispered. I seized the moment. So you both acted like it was already yours? Derek shifted. Well, she told me it was hers by right. That her sister bought it with family money. Which she just admitted wasn't true, I said sharply. So which is it? The courtroom stirred again. Judge Williams leaned forward. Mr. Lane, did Clara assure you this house was legally hers? Yes, Derek muttered. And you believed her? The judge pressed. I did, he admitted, avoiding Clara's eyes. Her lawyer looked rattled. Let's refocus, but the judge raised a hand. No, the inconsistency is noted. My pulse pounded. For the first time, the truth was visible. When my parents took the stand, I braced myself. My father cleared his throat. We raised both daughters. We gave what we could. Clara is fragile. She deserves stability. I spoke up. Dad, did you ever give me money for this house? His eyes darted. Not money, no. But support? What kind of support? I asked. Emotional, he said weakly. I almost laughed. You made me pay rent at 18 while Clara lived free. You mocked me for saving. That's not support. The judge's gaze shifted, unimpressed. Then my mother took the stand. Clara has always been delicate. She can't work like others. My older daughter, she was always stronger. She didn't need us, didn't need you. I echoed, my voice trembling. Do you know how many nights I cried wishing you'd see me? I didn't need money. I needed love. And you gave it all to Clara. The courtroom went still. My voice quivered, but I forced it steady. And now you're punishing me for surviving without you. My mother opened her mouth, but no words came. Evelyn caught my eye from the gallery, nodding slightly. Clara snapped then, her voice shrill. You think you're better than me just because you worked like some servant? I was meant for better things. That house should have been mine because I deserve it. Her lawyer hissed, Clara, stop, but she didn't. Derek promised he'd help me fix it up, make it beautiful, but you stole it first. You always steal everything. Judge Williams's brows rose. Miss Clara, are you testifying that you intended to take the house before it was legally yours? Clara stammered, realizing too late. I didn't mean, her lawyer scrambled. She misspoke, but the damage was done. I gripped the table, my heart hammering. For once, Clara's mask had slipped in front of everyone. Judge Williams looked down at me. His eyes were less cold now, more calculating. Defendant, he said, your evidence will be reviewed in detail. But it seems the plaintiff's testimony has raised concerns. I swallowed, my voice unsteady but louder than before. Because they're lying. And the cracks are showing. For the first time, I felt like the truth had a chance. I was digging through old bank records again when something strange caught my eye. A transfer I didn't remember authorizing, thousands of dollars gone. Evelyn, I whispered, sliding the paper toward her. Look at this. This money was from my childhood savings account. But it didn't come to me. It went to Clara, her brow furrowed. When? Years ago. Before I even turned 18, my voice shook. They moved it behind my back. She scanned the page carefully. Your parents transferred it to her name. The words stung worse than any wound. It was my savings. Birthday money, odd jobs, everything I put away as a kid. And they gave it to her? Evelyn's tone was steady. It looks that way, my chest heaved. So they never meant for me to stand on my own? They wanted me to depend on them. While feeding her, The doorbell rang, slicing through my fury. I opened it to find my mother. "We need to talk," she said curtly, stepping in. I held up the record like a weapon. "Talk about this?" Her face paled. "Where did you find that?" "In my own files," I snapped. "Why did you take my savings and give it to Clara?" She straightened, defensive. "Clara needed it more than you." "She always did," I laughed bitterly. "Needed it? I was working at 14 to fill that account. That was mine." "You were always stronger," she said coldly. "Clara couldn't survive without help." "You could. Do you hear yourself?" My voice cracked. "You punished me for surviving." She crossed her arms. "It was our decision." "A parent's right." "No," I spat. "It was theft." Evelyn stepped forward. "And manipulation." "You raised her to depend and her to resent. That wasn't parenting, it was sabotage." My mother glared. "Who are you to interfere?" "Someone who sees through you," Evelyn said calmly. "You don't get to rewrite what you did." I turned back to her, my voice raw. "You always wanted me small, helpless. But I fought to stand, and now you're furious I don't kneel." Her expression hardened. "You will regret this defiance." "No," I said, my hands trembling but steadying. "I regret ever begging for your approval." For once, she had no answer. She turned and left without another word. I sank into a chair, shaking. Evelyn's hand rested on mine. "You broke just now," she said softly. "I feel shattered," I whispered. "They stole from me before I even had a chance. And I kept hoping if I tried harder, they'd finally love me." Her eyes were sharp, unyielding. "Listen carefully. Blood doesn't always mean family. Family are the people who don't strip you of yourself. Choose who deserves your heart." Tears blurred my vision. "I don't know if I have a heart left to give." "You do," she said firmly. "You've just been giving it to the wrong people." Her words sank deep, heavy but true. I wiped my face. "Then I'll never give it to them again. Not my money, not my time. Not my love," Evelyn nodded. "That's the vow you needed." For the first time, I felt something sharper than despair, a cold, burning resolve. "They wanted me weak," I said, my voice low. "But I'll fight until they regret ever underestimating me." The courtroom buzzed with low murmurs until Judge Williams's gavel struck. "Proceed with cross-examination." Miller adjusted his glasses. "Clara, you testified that you deserve this house because your sister denied you support, correct?" Clara nodded quickly. "Yes, she abandoned me." "Let's be clear," Miller pressed. "Have you ever held a job?" Clara froze. "That's not relevant." "It is," he said firmly. "Answer the question. Have you ever earned income to support yourself?" Her cheeks flushed. "No, I didn't need to. My family always—" She stopped abruptly, realizing. I leaned forward. "Always what, Clara?" She glared at me, but the words tumbled out. "Always took care of me. That's how it's supposed to be. I shouldn't have to struggle like you." A gasp rippled through the gallery. My chest tightened, not with fear this time, but vindication. Miller seized the opening. "So by your own words, you never worked. You expected others to provide for you?" Clara's voice rose, shrill. "Why shouldn't I? I'm the younger daughter. Things were supposed to be handed to me." The courtroom erupted in whispers. Judge Williams struck his gavel again. "Order!" I locked eyes with Clara. Her face twisted, desperation breaking through her fake innocence. Derek shifted uncomfortably beside her. "Clara," he muttered under his breath, "what are you doing?" She snapped at him. "Shut up, Derek! You said this would work." Judge Williams turned. "Mr. Lane, do you wish to add something?" Derek stood abruptly. "No, Your Honor, I'm done with this circus." He shot Clara a cold look. "You dragged me into your mess. I won't sink with you." "Derek!" Clara cried, reaching for him. But he pulled his arm away and stormed out, the heavy doors slamming behind him. The silence that followed was deafening. Clara's lips trembled. He's lying." "He promised me," Miller cut in. "Promised you what, Clara? That the house would be yours before this case was even decided?" Her lawyer rose quickly. "Objection! Overruled," Judge Williams said, his tone sharp. "The witness will answer," Clara stammered. He just meant after. He said after we won, he'd help me fix it up." I spoke, my voice steady despite the hammering in my chest. "So you admit you planned your life around winning a house that never belonged to you?" Her eyes darted, searching for her lawyer, her parents, anyone. It should have been mine. Everyone always said I was special. I deserve it more than you. My father lowered his head. My mother looked away, shame flickering across her face. Judge Williams studied Clara, then turned to me. For the first time, his gaze held weight, not dismissal. "Defendant," he said, "you may speak." I stood slowly. My knees were shaking, but my voice was firm. I worked for years. I saved every paycheck, gave up vacations, gave up nights of sleep. Everything in that house was built by me. Clara just admitted she never worked, that she expected it all to be handed to her. That's the truth of this case. I earned my home. She feels entitled to it. Clara slammed her hands on the table. "Because I'm worth more than you." The words hung in the air like poison. Judge Williams's gavel struck again. "Enough. The record is clear." I sat down slowly, my heart pounding. Evelyn caught my eye from the gallery, nodding with quiet pride. For the first time, I didn't feel like the lesser daughter. I felt like someone standing on solid ground, while Clara's world cracked beneath her. Judge Williams's voice carried through the silence. "The balance of this case has shifted. We will continue, but the court has taken note of the plaintiff's admissions." I breathed in, steady. For the first time, he was looking at me, not as the selfish sister, not as the unworthy one. He saw me, and that changed everything. Judge Williams's voice cut through the hush. "We will now review the financial evidence." Miller handed over the neatly organized files. Bank records, pay stubs, transfers, every cent accounted for. "All hers!" The judge flipped through pages, his eyes scanning line after line. Consistent deposits from employment. No contributions from parents. He looked at my mother. "Do you contest this?" Her lips quivered. We only wanted what's fair." "Fair?" I snapped. "You stole from me for Clara. You told me I was strong, so I didn't deserve help. And now you stand here calling theft fair?" Clara shot up, her voice shrill. "She's twisting everything. I should have had that house. Everyone knows it." Judge Williams slammed his gavel. "Sit down." "The defendant's evidence stands." Clara sank back, trembling. The judge continued. "And as for you, Miss Clara, you admitted under oath you never worked, that you expected life to be handed to you. That statement alone undermines your entire claim." "No," she cried. "You don't understand. Derek—" She stopped, realizing. "Derek left," I said coldly. "He saw what you are." "So did everyone here." Clara's hands shook. "He'll come back." "He loves me." "Loves you?" I cut in. "He abandoned you mid-case. Just like you abandoned truth." Tears streaked her face as she sank lower, clutching her dress. Judge Williams turned to my parents. "You encouraged this? You stood here under oath supporting lies? You should be ashamed." My father cleared his throat, his voice cracking. "We only wanted to protect Clara." I laughed bitterly. "You never wanted to protect me. You wanted to bury me." The judge's tone was final. "This case is dismissed. The house belongs solely to the defendant. Let the record show, the plaintiffs pursued this out of greed and entitlement." The gavel struck like thunder. It was over. Clara collapsed against the table, sobbing. My mother rushed to her, whispering, "It's okay, baby. We'll fix this." I stood tall, though my chest heaved. "You can't fix this." "Not anymore." My father stepped closer. "Please, let's forget the ugliness. We're still family. Family." My voice broke, then hardened. "Where was family when you drained my savings? When you mocked me? When you stood in court calling me selfish?" He flinched. "We were wrong. But we can make it right." "No," I said, my hands trembling but steady. "You can't. You destroyed any chance of making it right." My mother turned, eyes pleading. "Don't say that. Forgive us. Forgive Clara, we'll move past this." I met her gaze cold. "I begged for your love my whole life. I starved for it. And you fed me silence while feeding her lies. Now you beg me?" "No, I don't forgive." "I don't forget," Clara wailed. "You're heartless." I looked at her, unblinking. "No, I just stopped bleeding for people who never cared if I lived or died." The room fell silent. Even the echo of my words seemed to hang like chains. Evelyn's eyes met mine from the gallery. She didn't smile, but she nodded, once firm. Judge Williams cleared his throat. "This court is adjourned." As everyone filed out, my parents lingered, faces gray, Clara clinging to my mother's arm like a child. My father tried again. "Please, daughter, One last chance, I turned away. You lost that chance years ago. And I walked out, leaving them in the ruins they built. The house was quiet when I stepped inside. No court, no whispers, no accusations, just silence. I closed the door slowly, my hand lingering on the knob. It's mine, I whispered. Finally, it's only mine. But the words carried both triumph and ache. The echoes of betrayal still clung to the walls. A knock came minutes later. I opened the door to Evelyn, her sharp eyes softening when she saw me. So, she said, stepping in, how does victory feel? I exhaled, my shoulders slumping. Strange. Like I won something but lost everything else. She nodded. That's because you lost illusions. And illusions are heavier than truth. I sat at the kitchen table, tracing the wood grain with my fingers. They begged me to forgive them, Evelyn. Begged. And for 1 second, I almost wanted to. I almost wanted to run into their arms and pretend none of it happened. Her gaze held mine. But you didn't. No, I shook my head. Because if I had, I'd still be that girl desperate for scraps of love. I'm done starving, Evelyn sat across from me. Good, you finally chose yourself. My throat tightened. But it hurts. God, it hurts. She reached out steady. Healing always does. I let the silence linger, heavy but not suffocating. Do you think they'll ever regret it? Yes, she said firmly. Not because they lost the house, but because they lost you. That's a wound they'll never close. I stared at my hands. And me? Will I ever stop wanting them? You won't stop wanting love, Evelyn said. But you'll learn to want it from people who deserve you. I breathed in slowly. I don't know who those people are yet. You will, she promised. Because you'll be free to choose them, instead of being chained to the ones who broke you. I glanced around the small kitchen. This place doesn't feel like just a house anymore. It feels alive, like it watched everything and now it's waiting for me to start over. Then start, she said. Paint the walls, open the windows, fill it with your voice. Make it yours in every way. I smiled faintly. For so long, I thought I didn't deserve to have anything just for me. But I do. I earned this. Evelyn's eyes warmed. Say it again. I earned this, I said louder. Every sleepless night, every insult I swallowed, every time they called me selfish. I earned this house. I earned my life. Her lips curved in approval. There she is. Not the broken daughter. Not the lesser sister. Just you, whole. I felt tears, but they weren't the same kind as before. They weren't heavy with loss. They were light, sharp, cleansing. Evelyn? I asked softly. Yes? Thank you. For seeing me when no one else did. She tilted her head. I didn't just see you. You saw yourself through me. That's the real victory. I let her words settle. Then I stood, walking through the house. Each room was empty, yet full of possibility. This is where I cried, I murmured in the hallway. This is where I felt like I was dying. Evelyn followed, quiet. But now, I said, stepping into the living room, this is where I live. Where I choose who walks through my door. Where I don't beg anyone to stay. Evelyn's voice was low but firm. That's freedom. I turned back to her. Do you think I'll ever forgive them? She shook her head. Forgiveness is overrated. What you need is peace, and you've already found it. I looked out the window at the fading sun. The sky burned with streaks of orange and red. Peace, I repeated, letting the word fill me. For the first time, it didn't feel like a dream. It felt real. Evelyn touched my shoulder. They took you to court to strip you of a home. Instead, they stripped themselves of you. And that is the greater loss. I closed my eyes, the words carving deep into me. When I opened them, the house felt lighter, like it belonged to me, not just in law, but in spirit. They took me to court to strip me of a home, I whispered, my voice steady, strong. Instead, they lost me forever. And this time I didn't cry.